In this video, we're going to see how to buy a domain directly on Namecheap, and I can already tell you that for me, it might just be the best platform for buying domains all over the internet because of its prices and some other things we'll be looking at. In future videos, we'll compare Namecheap against others like GoDaddy, which a lot of people use, or Hostinger, or HostGator, etc. So let's start by talking about Namecheap. How are we going to buy it? We simply go to their platform. I'll leave the link in the description. Once we're here, we're going to register our domain. So what we need to do is enter the domain name we want. In this case, I'm going to put this one here and hit search. Once I hit search, it will show me all the options to buy the domain. What does this mean? Well, you know that the domain can end in com, in, us, in, plus, in, net, etc. So depending on the domain we buy, we can figure out if it ends up being really expensive or really cheap. For example, this name is pretty easy and has two words that are keywords, finance and plus. Here, the .com is already taken. There's a huge business behind domains, for those unaware. It's not even a website offering services. It's just a domain for sale because these are words that, as mentioned, are quite common. So what people do is, essentially, park it, buy low, sell high. As you see, for me to buy it, it's priced at $3,295. The alternative is using a .co, a .net, or a country-specific domain like .com.mx, or other options here. Here, we have club as CC/SEO, but I will use precisely net, a domain, for example, from a specific country if you're from Mexico, like .com.mx, etc., or any of the ones that come up here. So in this case, we have club as CC/SEO, but in my case, I'm going to use precisely. With this domain here, the truth is that it is for, let's say, companies, although this domain really belongs to Colombia, just as Mexico has 1010th, Argentina, AR, etc. So in this case, in Colombia, we have the .co, but around the world, they've been using this domain as the abbreviation for company. So I'm going to leave this one here. We just add it to the cart, and automatically, we'll see it in the cart. Now let's check it out. And as you can see here, it says the domain registration is for 1 year. In this case, we can choose for 2, 3, 4, or 5 years. The more we choose, the cheaper it gets in the long run. However, if you're not completely sure that your project is going to last as long as 5 years, it's best to just choose 1 year. You might find that it doesn't work out in the future, and then you end up paying for 5 years and wasting your money. So in my case, I'm going to go with 1 year. Now, there's one very important thing to note. And that is, for those who don't know, domains obviously expire, meaning the ownership of the domain runs out. So if I buy this domain for a year and I don't renew my membership, so to speak, with Namecheap, I won't be able to keep it for longer, and probably someone else will come along and take it. So that's what this auto-renew button is for, to automatically renew it every year. We can disable this later if desired, but I want it enabled. Domain privacy makes Namecheap the best for domains, as others charge for it. It protects your data in the Whois database, hiding personal info like name and address. Buying this adds privacy to our domain. Premium DNS is optional. I don't need it. Let's see other offers like alternative domains, which I don't want. Namecheap hosting doesn't interest me. There's email with this domain. We want hosting for WordPress, SSL, and if free, no extra cost. After choosing, click confirm order. If I have a promo code, I'll share it to save money. I don't have one now, so I'll confirm the order and create an account. If you haven't, buy to add domain privacy. Enable it, consider premium DNS. Check offers like. Now, once we've enabled this, we can also get premium DNS if we want, but in my case, I don't want it. That really depends on each person. Let's scroll down a bit, and we can see that they offer different things, like the main domain for alternatives. But I don't want that expensive domain. If we want hosting with Namecheap, personally, it doesn't interest me. Then there's email with this domain. We specifically want hosting for WordPress, SSL. And if your host allows it for free, then there's no problem. So we wouldn't need to pay for anything that appears further down. So once we choose, we just click on confirm order. If I have a promo code, I'll leave it in the description or in the first pinned comment to make it a bit cheaper. In my case, I don't have one right now, so I'm going to confirm the order, and now we're going to create our account. If you already have an account, just log in on the left, but since I don't, I'm going to put my username, password, repeat the password, my first name, my second name, and my email. Once we fill in all our details, it will redirect us to this platform, to this form. Here, we put our first name, second name, the name of our company if we have one. If not, we can just repeat our own name, the title of our job, so to speak, like what position we hold. However, this is in case we are in a company or have a company. If we're not doing this to a company, we just uncheck this box that says we are registering with or on behalf of a company. So we disable that, and it's done. Next, here's where we put our home address on the first line, then the city, state, province, postal code, our country. Mine is Colombia, our phone number. Remember to select your country code. Mine is +57, which is for Colombia. If we have a fax number, I don't have one, and that's completely optional, so I won't add it. I'll just fill in all the details here. In fact, it already welcomes me, but what it's asking for is to complete the payment for the domain I'm buying, so I'll fill all this out and hit continue. Then I'll show you what else comes up. This appears, and it's basically for the Whois data, which is more of a legal thing. You're seeing all this censored right now so that in the future, it won't be visible. It's all about the Whois privacy we got for free from Namecheap, which I'll show you what it refers to. Basically, it tells us to put the registration contact of the person who created this domain, which I already did. Then for administrative contact, technical contact, and for all of them, it's me, obviously. Let's say you're not seeing all that data because it's censored, but what you can do is change it and put someone else's or just put your personal info. Once we have all the data, we'll see this section that says Domain Privacy, which basically translates to saying that the Domain Privacy Service ensures that your personal information doesn't show up in the Whois database. We'll associate this domain and enable it at the time of purchase. So if we don't enable this, all that data will be visible, so let's enable it. From here, we can also change the DNS if we want, but we can change that later too. In my case, I'm just going to leave it as is, so I'll just keep it like that, and then it tells me to save this info for future purchases. Let's say if I end up buying other domains or even a hosting plan, I can do it with the same info I just entered here, and I'm going to hit continue. And now we come to the final point, and that is payment. In this case, what we can do is pay with our debit credit card, be it Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover, and then we can also pay with PayPal. PayPal is a simple option if facing issues because your credit or debit card fails. That could be because your card doesn't allow international payments. Instead, choose PayPal, and even without funds, you can link your card to it. PayPal is widely accepted and is connected in Latin America. PayPal prompts us to select a card for payment. I'll pay with my PayPal balance. We pay with PayPal, not directly with the balance because we might not have any, but when we go to pay with PayPal, it'll prompt us to select a card for payment, and we just pick our card and we're all set. In my case, I'm actually going to pay with PayPal, but not necessarily with a card, just with the balance I have in PayPal. So let's keep going here. At the end, we have this option to renew our purchases, as I was saying, so that we don't forget and then see that our domain has expired, which in fact happened to Google at some point. Well, we're going to have to buy this or put it on auto renewal, meaning that when the year ends, I automatically go back and buy that domain. So I just select that I want to renew the domain registration, and then for the domain privacy, which is the Whois stuff, I just check that I want to save this info for the future, and then I hit continue. Now it's going to redirect me directly to make the payment. And here we basically have a summary of our purchase. The domain we're buying, the domain privacy, the duration, which in this case is 1 year, and it gives me the option to check out with PayPal over here on the right. So the only thing we have to do is verify that everything is correct, and we click on checkout with PayPal, and basically it starts charging us, and here it redirects me to PayPal. So as you can see here, my PayPal balance shows $9.48. In this case, I'm going to pay with my balance. If you're paying with a card, you can see your cards here. Let's say I have this one here. You can select the card you've added or add a new one to pay with a card through PayPal. Then we hit continue and review the order. It starts loading more. Sorry, it says one more step. Finish paying at Namecheap Inc. And it says the order has been sent for processing. So we just need to wait for confirmation that the payment has gone through. It says thank you for your purchase. Your order has been completed. So here's our order number in case we need to contact support if we have any issues with our domain or something like that. So, alright friends, that's basically it. We've got the domain purchase done. And remember that a domain is very different from hosting. If we want to have a website set up with that name, we need to buy hosting separately, which is what I usually do. I buy a domain and then later host my websites on some hosting service. So that's all for now. See you next time. Bye bye.